Welcome to KCA TV. Today in the studio we have two very important guests, Charlene Nyangaresi and Damaris Onjaba. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, I call you here and I'm happy that you honored to come to KCA TV. Now I would like to give you a brief, at least say who you are. And this we have to include even the schools you went from primary.
Oh.
So, yeah. Okay, we start with you, Charlene.
Oh, taking it all back. My name is Charlene. Currently, I work as a financial analyst at a medtech company. But to go back to where I went to school and how I became a financial analyst is I grew up in Kisii, Kenya, proud of Magina product. And then my parents early on realized there wasn't a lot of good schools in Kisii. So we went all the way across the border of Kenya to go to Western Kenya, near the border of Uganda, to go to school. So from a very early on age, I went to boarding school from 3rd grade. And since then, I've really never lived home that much until I moved to America. So I went to boarding school in 3rd grade, learned all the independence things, bullying in school and everything, and then went to high school. In high school, I hoped, I'll go to Nairobi. I ended up even farther in the Western Kenya. I went to Lugulu Girls High School. Oh, for primary school, I went to St. Anne's Mumias.
Okay.
And then when I was in Lugulu, luckily, somehow, my parents were working so hard to make sure they bring me to America. So I skipped KCSE exam, which is really exciting because that was rough. So then I came here in high school and I went to Champlain Park High School and in Champlain. And then from there, I ended up at the University of Minnesota while I was still in high school. And then I decided to stay there for my undergraduate. Graduated from Carlson School of Business. And that's all the schools I went to. And I studied accounting, and now I work in finance.
Thank you very much. Okay, Damaris.
Yeah, so
That's a long story.
wow, mine won't be that long actually. So I'm Damaris Onchaba. So I grew up in Kisii, Kenya, but unlike Charlene, the only schools I went were in Kisii. I didn't get away from Kisii that much, so I went to Cheplat Highway Academy. I don't even know if that's in Kisii.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cheplat Highway.
Yes, I don't think it is, but they were
Maybe it's
Kisiis.
in the border.
Yeah, maybe. So Cheplat Highway Academy, that's where I did my primary school. It was a boarding school too, so I went to boarding school from 5th grade to 8th grade.
Okay.
And then I went to Sironga Girls High School. It's a common school. Who doesn't know Sironga?
I know.
Yeah.
It's very popular in Kisii.
It is, yeah. So I went to Sironga Girls and I actually won a green card when I was in Form 3. And by the time I'm done with my Form 4, I think I was lucky because I didn't even know what a green card was.
Okay.
And then I had to take a leap of faith and come to US without like my family and everything. I was so young, 19, yeah. So I came in, after a year I went to Normandale Community College and I got my associate degree in engineering. And then I went to Iron Range Engineering to get my Bachelor's of Science in Engineering, biomedical emphasis. And now I currently work as a product engineer.
Okay.
I mean project engineer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. That's a wrong Jana. You see how you met
Makes me feel old.
Yeah.
It's not been that long.
No.
Yeah, but he has run so fast.
But it says something about progress. It's slow but sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So many things in a short duration.
So, you say you got a green card when you were in Form 3.
Yeah, that's when I applied.
What you mean? You came here when you were 18?
19. I turned 19 in September. And
Because
came
it's
in
what, 2
October.
years?
Oh, okay.
A 2-year process from when
Yeah.
you apply.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how did you manage coming without parents as a young person? How what challenges did you meet when you came at that age?
Yeah, so when I came, I can say I was lucky because I didn't have any relatives, and I don't know, I met this person, my mom's friend, Richard Mainya. He was like my host at that time, and he took me as his like younger sister and took care of me, made sure I meet the right people that get me to go through school. I can't say there were no challenges, but I think I was lucky to meet people that guided me through the right path.
Okay. Well, Charlene, you said you came here, you went to high school, and then when you were in high school, you went to the university. How did you do that?
So I was a pretty ambitious kid, but when I came here, obviously transitioning from Kenya to America was hard. So I was trying to get out of high school as soon as I can. And one time, so initially actually, I went in and I wanted to take all the honors classes. And then they're putting me English as a second language. I'm looking at them, I'm like, I have been speaking English my whole life. What are you telling me? So the frustration of being put in an ESL class, English as a second language, my parents, my dad believed in me so much and knew how much I loved studying and working hard, and he went there and was fighting for me. He was like, you don't need to be in ESL, but since they've refused to put you in regular English class or an honors class, go and prove them wrong. So I went in the first time and I was doing so well. The teacher went to the counselor and was like, what is this girl doing in this class? It's like, first of all, she shouldn't even be in regular English. She should go to honors English. And that's when I learned, like in America, it's like, even when you're in high school, you can choose your classes, the level of difficulty they should be. So then from then I was like, the next time, because the first time I didn't know what I was registering. It's the classes they decided to put me in. But the second time we had fought, I went to regular English, and they also took me, and then I had the chance to register for my classes, and I took all the hardest classes, so the AP, IB, honors classes. So there's a level of how hard they are. And I was in the AP classes. I mean, they were hard, but I was working hard and I was doing really well. Then somebody mentioned, do you know you can? To be honest, I don't know who mentioned this. It was just, my parents get together. One person said, you know, you can go to college when you're in high school in this country, and that stuck in my mind. So when I was a sophomore in high school, I kept asking, like, what is that? Most people didn't know around me. And then I had a friend, she's from Egypt, and she was homeschooled, and then she had moved to also do high school, and she didn't like it, and she was like, oh, I'm excited, I'm applying to college while I'm in high school to do this program. So I asked her what the program is, and she told me, and immediately I applied for like 10 schools. I was like, I am ready to get out of high school. And it's the post-secondary enrollment option, which is if you're in Minnesota and if you have a kid who's in high school or even in middle school, they need to start knowing about those programs now.
Okay.
So long as you're in any public high school in Minnesota, by your second year, you can apply to any college. It doesn't matter if it's private or public or community college. You can apply to go to school there for your junior and senior year, and the state pays for it. So since I didn't like high school here, my junior and senior year, I never set foot in my high school until when I was graduating. And the good thing is, like, for example, in high school, you have a certain set of classes you need. Like, I needed chemistry, right? So I'll take it at college. It counts both as a college credit and a high school credit. So those are the benefits that, for me, it was done out of the fact I worked hard. I didn't want to be in high school. But later on, it saved me like 2 years of college. Okay. 2 years of tuition. So it's
student loans.
Student loans, you know.
Okay. Now I come to you, Damaris. You are an engineer, and there is that culture which believes that that's a domain for men. Where did you get inspired to go to engineering?
Yeah.
Because that's the notion we have.
Right, yeah. So when I was in high school, I used to like things like Science Congress, anything that dealt with science and mathematics was like my best subject ever. So I was like, what can I do with what I like? You know, I like all this science, and math is like my most favorite. So when I started looking, and in Kenya, I was actually gonna be a high school teacher. That's what I got.
That's what you wanted to be?
No, not what I wanted though. My grade, when they do like those selections, so they tell you like, if you have this grade, this is what you can be.
What you,
So there's that limit. And when I came to America, I was like, oh yeah, you can be anything that you want. And so I started like looking into like, what can I do with what I like and what I enjoy in school. And then I realized that engineering is not just, you know, like fixing cars, how people think, you know, because engineering can be the brains, like how does your brain work, how creative you are. So you can be like all those kinds of engineer, and mostly like for me, what I'm focused on is mostly like the research part of it, you know, like troubleshooting and that kind of stuff. So that's how I was like, if engineering is not just dealing with cars, because sometimes people will be like, oh, can you fix, you know, can you be able to fix all these things? or even at home, sometimes it's a challenge, because my dad will be like, oh, you're an engineer. I'm like, no, that's not the kind I am, you know. Engineering is not all about that. That's mostly like manual work, but engineering is like problem solving and how you think. And if you like enjoy science and math, I don't think there's that limit that you have to be a guy. I know like sometimes I don't believe fully like you have to be a man to do ABCD. I mean, if it was manual work, like hard work doing that, then I would say that. But if you have the capability, you can actually be an engineer.
Oh, okay. Now this goes you, Charlene. You talk about being a financial analyst. What is it really?
What is that?
What do you analyze? About coins and?
Good. It's a learning process, but as a financial analyst, basically it's similar to accounting in a way, but you're analyzing. Basically, you're taking the results of the company and you're analyzing what did we do well according to our expectations, what didn't we do. You're helping the company plan their finances and budget for the next few years. So it's exciting, because if you're in a growing market, a market that's going down, you're learning a lot that my finance degree could have helped me. But I, again, like I said, I wasn't resilient then. So.
Okay. Now, I know all of you are the generation we call the millennial generation. I don't know. Am I wrong to say?
No, you're right.
Yeah, this is a generation which has been characterized as being lazy. People who finish from college with debt.
A lot of debts.
And they are not going to create anything. Do you agree with that description about the millennials? The marriage?
Oh, I think to some extent, but I think it's more like generalized, you know. But I think mostly what happens is like, you know, like Charlene, how she explained, she was smart enough to figure out like, if I keep up with my major, I'm probably never, you know, gonna go anywhere with it. So she switched to something that can help her out. So I think that's where like mostly I can say we go wrong in our generation, that you just want to go to college and be done, you know, but not having a goal like, is this career that I'm doing, is it going to land me a job? And the other thing is like taking out student loans that you don't need. I know, like, I think the only thing happened is like, the career that I chose, I was able to get a job, but I did take loans that I didn't need. But if I go back, if I go back, I would not take those loans. I didn't need loan for my tuition and anything, but I just took loans for my own use that I didn't really have to take. At that point, I was excited. I'm like, oh, money? How much is this? And I've never seen this amount of money in my life, so I'm like, oh, I'm taking it. You know, but I think that's where we go wrong, like taking that money you don't need and taking a career that doesn't land you a job after you graduate. And then after you graduate, you're like, back to square one.
Okay.
Let me just, I don't know what you're saying. There's a saying on Facebook that I say, the millennials are caught in the catch-22. The cost for education has never been greater, but and the need for it has always been, like there's always been need, but the cost has been greater, and the jobs are not paid. And truthfully, when we're talking about student loans, one, we can blame ourselves, right? Because you see all this money, how do we assume the money is free? I mean, what's wrong with that? Right? So, I mean, that's the first thing. Like, before, yes, we can blame the situations, but we also have to come to terms with the fact that who tells you here's money? I mean, the grants are free. The problem with how they word the money is like, this is your financial aid. You see, like, that is a marketing scheme. Because
they call everything financial aid.
Because you're an 18-year-old, somebody's telling you, like, we've never dealt with this much money. And most of our immigrants, for example,
Yeah,
like,
most of you came from Kenya.
Yes,
Yeah.
like you came, and in Kenya it's like your parents have to figure out a way to pay for your tuition.
And give you pocket money.
Yes, and then you suddenly come here and there's financial aid.
Free money.
And then within the financial aid, there's grants, which is free. Then there's the loans, and then there's, if those are enough, there's private loans.
Yep.
So when they mix all those terms together, and then there's work study. So I thought work study was money, but you actually have to work and earn it.
Oh, yeah.
It's really,
Work
part
in
of it,
school.
it's really confusing what they do.
Okay.
It's not fair to 18, 19-year-olds
Okay.
who don't know anything. That's the first thing. But believe me, the grants, yes. The scholarships, yes. Anything loans, it's not free money. That's the first thing. And it's a disservice done to everyone.
Okay.
So it's also a marketing scheme. Like, how do we outsmart our schools? Because even when I was going to the school, I'm like, explain this to me. They were not. I had to call, like, my dad. I'm like, so I have this and this and this. He's like, no, that's not. That's not a financial aid. It's just a package that's done. So it's not fair to do this.
They don't tell the truth.
No.
They don't. So let's blame that. The second part of it is like, it's not the fact that we just assume that the loans, the mentality, because of how they brand it, it skews our mentality.
Yeah.
Because you already said it's financial aid, and I'm like, what's wrong if I take an extra 1,000?
Yeah.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
So I think when you're going to college, you have to be determined. It's like, first of all, how can I survive without their help? So then you figure out your cost. Can I work? At the same time, of course, you want somebody. Honestly, when I was in college and somebody told me work and pay for school, I was like, why? I could just go to school and then work. But now that I work, I also appreciate a lot of people who worked while they were in school, because there's a lot of skills you learn along the way. But then sometimes when people are working with just money, they forget school. So it's like, how do you balance that's really what's hard with student loans.
Yeah.
And it's like encouraging, like you're telling us, like right now, when I was undergrad, if somebody told me education is the most important thing, I believe them. Now that I've finished school, it is important, but I don't think it's the most important thing. If you are in an undecided major, you don't know what you want, stop going to college. I'm not saying that because I don't want any more people to graduate and be educated, but it's like, believe me, first know what you want to do. And also, we have this need of, what is that thing? It's like, do what you want. The reality is different. You can't just study any major.
Yeah.
And that's that's hard. Of course, there's the statistics. You're gonna be the one of the millions who made it, but at the same time, we're not realistic.
Yeah.
We're not realistic.
Yeah.
Now,
I think you need to like look at the value, the market value, like what's the market.
You know, when you're looking at the market value in your college student, you imagine like you in your imagination how the world is gonna work out for you. That's our problem.
No, I don't mean for the student loans or that. Like before you take a major, see how marketable it is. Like what's the probability of you getting a job after you graduate? I know there's that part like, oh yeah, you want to like do what you love, but do what you love that can earn you a job after you graduate.
Yeah, but now that as one of the things I told you, the characteristics of millennials, that they have huge debts, credit card debts, student loans. Now, as a financial analyst, what advice can you give the millennials to avoid debt or to reduce debt?
Yes, I'll say this. Even people in finance and as financial analysts, believe me, we, even as a finance major, they come out knowing nothing about money. That's
Okay.
the number one thing I'll promise you, because schools, like you said, they're also businesses. It's not their business to teach you to not take their loans, to not, because they have business and partnership. So you have to understand, like, it's nothing personal, but it's not in their interest to teach you to be financially literate.
Yeah.
So the first thing I'll tell you is, with internet, podcasts, books, there's a lot you can learn about finances. I had to go through that. I had to teach myself. Even, with accounting and finance, where you're trusted. And then you're like, you have no idea what investing is. So the first thing I'll say, first before I forget, I'll recommend a few books and a few podcasts that changed my life. I've changed how I look at credit cards, auto loans, like everyday happenings. There's a book that says "I Will Teach You How to Be Rich" by Ramit Sethi. It's a really good book about banks, credit cards, how even high school kids or college kids shouldn't have a bank that's charging them $10 if you don't choose them. I mean, you're broke students, you don't have a full-time job. But reading a book like "I Will Teach You to Be Rich," even if you don't read the book, type it on YouTube, audio, it's free.
Okay.
It's one of the best books that has been written for anyone.
Okay.
Because sometimes finance books get complicated into investing and you don't understand that, but that's one of the best books. There's a book called The Millionaire Next Door. That really book is teaching us about lifestyle inflation.
Okay.
Basically, it's telling us your regular millionaires are your neighbors who own their small businesses. They live below their means. As you know, we get a new paycheck, new job, we move to a new house, a bigger car. But it's like, so there's something about teaching ourselves about money. And then a podcast I highly recommend is called Paychecks and Balances.
Paychecks and balances?
Yes, Paychecks and Balances. And basically it's, they interview a lot of different people, but they talk about topics that are of interest about money, about lifestyle inflation. They talk about careers. For example, they'll say, a good thing I took out of that, and I forwarded it to a lot of my friends, is like, even if you have a job when you graduate, every 2-3 years, or even every year, interview in the marketplace to see your value in the market. Even if you love your job so much, just interview and see what your value is in the market. Sometimes we love our jobs and we get stuck there that we forget every few years you don't move, your income is not going to grow. At the same time, of course, we have a problem. Are we moving too much with our careers? But at least know what your value is. Apply for jobs you sometimes don't qualify for. Like if you qualify some things, just sometimes it's like, don't get too comfortable to be like, I need to fit every job description that's there. Debt, I'm sorry I'm talking too long, but for debt, credit card debt, it's read I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. It's about, first, how do credit card companies work. Credit card is not free money. Believe me. I wish it was.
Oh my God.
It's not free money. But at the same time, you have to understand that this is a country that's been built that way. So if somebody is giving you, hey, here is the card, use this money, I want to see how you're going to pay it. Like, are you just swiping and not realizing you need to pay? Are you paying your bills on time? Because it's building your credit history. When you want to buy a home, when you want to do all those things, that's what credit cards are for. And then something, even a trick I learned, again, that's what I'm insisting, read this book, is every quarter or every half a year, I call my credit card companies. I'm like, hey, I'm going to make a big purchase coming up. Can you increase my credit limit? But the thing is, like, I don't even use my credit card. Even if I say I'm going to use the big meter. What I want is, like, to have a big credit limit to make sure my utilization is low. But I'm not increasing it so I can just spend. Yeah. It's about, because when they see, if let's say all this, your 2 credit cards gave you like a 10,000 limit, and then you increase your limit to, let's say, 12,000, then they increase it to 13. as you spend and you pay, they keep increasing, but you're also calling them to increase, but you're still just spending your 1,000 or 2,000 only. That in itself, your utilization is low. You also have to learn to outsmart the system in America.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then with the credit card debt is car loans. Believe me, you don't need to finish a degree and buy the most expensive car the next day. It's not worth it.
That's true.
You know, like, let's go back to the old ways. It's like, you can still get a good, reliable used car. It's Minnesota sometimes, you need a little bit more of a four-wheel drive or what you need, but let's not try to buy the latest car. Let's not try to just upgrade ourselves every time your paycheck is raised. And then remember savings. Automate your finances. When you have a job, most jobs now, they let you have your paycheck into 1 or 2 banks. Or even 3 now.
Okay.
So what you do, force yourself to save. Automate your finances. What you do, you tell your bank, like, 10 or 20% of my salary is going to go to this bank. That's your savings. And then you're going to live on 80% of your salary. You get a job. There's 401k in most companies. 401ks are basically about retirement. It's about the money you save for your future self. I know sometimes people are like, it's far away, I just started a job. But, like, you need to start thinking about your retirement the first day you get your full-time professional job. So those are some of the things about finances I've learned. I wish I'd learned early. Because I didn't invest in my 401k the first year I was working. I was like, I'll wait until the second year to do that. But that's something you start early. So it's a lot about finances. But please read the book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. It will change how you look at money and the few tricks that you can learn to sustain yourself.